All right, let's talk about the one skill that can make or break a project. I'm talking about risk management. It's kind of like having a crystal ball. It lets you peek into the future, see what might go wrong, and actually build a plan so it doesn't. Let's dive in.
Oh, you know you have. We've all been there. Everything starts out great, everyone's optimistic, and then, boom, it's chaos. One little thing goes sideways, then another, and before you know it, you're just putting out fires all day instead of actually moving forward. But what if you could spot those fires before they even started? And here are the usual suspects, right? Your star player gets the flu, a supplier misses their deadline, a freak storm rolls in. The thing is, this isn't just random bad luck. These are predictable uncertainties, and how you get ready for them is the real difference between a successful project and, well, a total nightmare.
So let's start with section 1, when projects go wrong. First, we need to get a handle on what risk actually is. Okay, here's a really important distinction. A risk is not a problem, yet. Think of it like a potential landmine just waiting out there. As long as it's just a possibility, it's a risk. The second it actually happens, it's not a risk anymore. It's a full-blown crisis, and now you're forced to just react. And that right there, that's the choice every single project manager has to make. You can either just wait for things to explode and then run around in a panic, or you can be proactive and build a system to deal with these things before they ever get a chance to bite you. Which brings us to section 2, the proactive 4-step plan. This is that proactive system we were just talking about, and you'll see it's actually pretty straightforward. So here it is, our roadmap, 4 simple steps: identify, assess, plan, and control. The best way to think about this is like a loop, a cycle that you keep running to shield your project from any nasty surprises. We're going to walk through every single one. All right, section 3, identify and assess risks. This is where we learn how to see the future. So step 1 is all about getting everything out on the table. You can brainstorm with your team, you can group risks into buckets like technical stuff or budget stuff. And this is a big one. You can look at historical data. Your company's past projects are an absolute goldmine for figuring out what can and probably will go wrong. Now, once you've done that, you're going to have this massive, maybe even terrifying list of potential risks. But here's the secret. You do not have to treat them all the same. The next move is to figure out which ones actually matter. And this is the tool the pros use to do it. It's called the Risk Assessment Matrix. Now, it might look a little complicated, but the idea is dead simple. On one side, you've got the chance of a risk happening. On the other side, you've got how bad it'll be if it does happen. Anything low impact and unlikely, that's the green zone. We can probably live with those. But the stuff that's high impact and very likely to happen, that's the red zone up in the corner. Those are the risks you absolutely positively have to have a plan for. But how do you define impact? I mean, that sounds kind of vague, right? Well, you get specific. You turn those vague worries into hard numbers. Will it blow up the budget by more than 20%? That's high impact. Will it push the schedule back by more than 10%? Yep, high impact. This table is how you make it all measurable. So on to section 4, plan and control responses. We've found our biggest, scariest risks. Now, what are we going to do about them? It really just comes down to having a plan A and a plan B. Your mitigation plan, that's plan A. That's all the stuff you do beforehand to stop a risk from ever happening. But what if it happens anyway? Well, that's when you pull the trigger on your contingency plan, plan B, to manage the chaos. So for your response, you've got 4 main strategies. You can avoid the risk entirely, like moving your outdoor festival inside so you don't have to worry about rain. You can mitigate it to make it less likely or less painful. You can transfer it, which is what insurance is for. Or for those really small risks, you might just accept it and say, you know what, we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. And this is so critical. Risk management is not something you do once and then stick in a filing cabinet. Projects change, they evolve. New risks pop up, old ones fade away. So this final step, it's a constant loop of watching, reviewing, and adapting. So control and monitor means you're actually putting your plans into action. You're making that risk matrix a regular topic in your meetings. You're asking, hey, is that low-level risk suddenly looking more likely? And crucially, you track what actually happened so you can create a lessons learned document that'll make the next project even better. And that brings us to our last section, section 5, the project manager's superpower. Why go through all this trouble? Because mastering this process gives you a serious edge. honestly, these are your new superpowers. You get to be proactive instead of reactive. You get way fewer of those awful surprises. You actually gain a sense of control over the future. And all of that dramatically boosts your chances of finishing on time, on budget, and keeping everyone happy. If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this right here. Risk management isn't about being negative or pessimistic. It's a proactive attempt to recognize and manage whatever might get in the way of success. It's about taking control. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're planning anything, I don't care if it's a huge launch at work or just a weekend trip, what's one potential problem you can now identify, assess, and actually plan for? Just thinking that way, that's the first step to making sure everything goes right.